So we're just coming off a few weeks of a topic impending, present and impending death. And Nellie and I weren't sure where to pivot next. Um, Interestingly enough, we kind of went to present and impending life. We're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence, this week. So, our intention with the topic is not to take a pro or anti position, AI position, but instead to really invite us into the Buddhist practice of investigating new conditions in our lives, new conditions that are here, that we live with. And we would like to use discernment, ethics, and curiosity on the topic. So, artificial intelligence, it's really an umbrella term. We use those two letters for everything from search engines to chat GPT to medical diagnostic tools to algorithms to facial recognition to self-driving cars to software that writes emails, creates images, and summarizes meetings. I mean, it's really everywhere. It's a placeholder for a whole ecosystem of technologies that are changing how we work, how we communicate with each other, how we create, how we learn. And this was interesting that Nellie and I got to. It's even how we think about thinking. And, our practice invites thinking into the meditation. So it's particularly interesting in that respect to me, for me. So AI it's on our Buddhist doorstep. We can't turn away. It is here to stay. Is there a point in fighting it? I'm not asking that because I don't think there shouldn't be thoughtfulness, reflection, caution, even concern in the arena. There absolutely should be. But fighting reality is a battle that we lose. And I'll put it this way, I'm thinking about it in terms of my own life. I'm in a cross cultural marriage, and it's simply the reality I live with. It's interesting. Sometimes it's delightful. Sometimes it's confusing. And sometimes there's genuine clashes in our values, our communication styles, our expectations, and our habits. But I don't wake up every morning wishing it weren't true. Instead, I'm learning how to live well within that reality. So AI feels similar to us, similar to Nellie and I. Whether we welcome it or resist it, it's become part of the conditions of our lives. So history is full of transitions that fundamentally changed how people lived. The telephone, electricity, automobiles, personal computers, internet. Every one of these inventions have created excitement, anxiety, resistance, and unforeseen consequences. People wondered whether society was changing too quickly or whether something deeply human would be lost at each one of those transitions. And AI feels like another one of those transitions. We feel, and many people feel bigger again because it touches on the thinking, our thinking itself. And that vastness, that huge arena that it encompasses, it evokes strong reactions. As Buddhists, the teachings, this is a little nutshell thing, the teachings don't really tell how things should be. We really, even the teachings that are kind of, they sound fairly absolute, like, impermanence. It's really not saying this is how things should be. It's more of an invitation, the teachings, to investigate how things are, how they come to be, and how they change or cease. So we begin with what's present for us, and rather than what we wish is present for us. Like, really, in the example of impermanence, sometimes things seem really permanent. And if that is our experience, that's where we start. We don't just overlay the teaching until we really start to understand the teaching in our experience. So, again, AI is part of what's present. We don't want to surrender our discernment. Um, And really, we really doubt that we can return to a world where it no longer exists. So I've been experiencing AI personally with my own health. After a routine eye exam, I've been talking about this a little bit. My optometrist was very reluctant to dilate my eyes and referred me to an ophthalmologist. So I'm having surgery next week, preparing for lens replacement because of what was diagnosed as a narrow angle glaucoma, possibility of a pressure event. And if it happened, I would experience blindness. So naturally, I wanted to understand what was happening more. So before my appointments, I have used AI to learn about the anatomy of my eyes, what questions should I ask, what to expect from this kinds of surgery, the risks, especially. It helps become a more informed participant in my care. But I don't substitute it for the expertise of my doctors. And I use it more so I can have a meaningful conversation with them. And that does feel like a right relationship. I have more information. I can be more um, participating in what's going to happen with this upcoming surgery. Now, at the same time, I like to give another example that shows um, it's really made trust online more complicated for me. And I was already finding it difficult to know whether I was on a real banking site because some of the imaging was so good. A ticketing website when I buy tickets for something, because AI has made scams cheaper, more convincing, and easier to scale. So recently, I bought some concert tickets for somebody I love her work, Sarah Jaros. She's going to be in Santa Barbara in I can't remember what month, November, something, October, November. But I bought it from a site that charged nearly 3 times the face value of the tickets. Now, here's the thing. I was so relieved that I actually got tickets. And it wasn't an entire scam, but it felt really humbling to fall for the trickery because it's not my first time. It keeps happening. And luckily, it's been nothing major, but there's, you know, um, again, it's very tricky. So my relationship with AI isn't one of simple enthusiasm or outright rejection. It has curiosity, caution, uncertainty, which really makes it feel like a middle way, not blind acceptance and not blanket resistance, but an ongoing investigation for a middle way to emerge around this huge topic. And it reminds me of how in Buddhism we're encouraged uh, to not just believe something because it's new or because it's old, but really to continue to examine our experience carefully. So, as usual, we kind of shift an inquiry, less is AI good or bad, more how are you relating to it? Who benefits? Who's harmed? What values are guiding its development? And how do we preserve human dignity while making use of these new capacities? And they aren't simple yes or no questions, they're ongoing practices of reflection because really we'll all relate to AI differently. Nelly and I, hope to learn how to use the resource well within the Dharma, individually and collectively. Some people in the world will use it constantly, others will use it only occasionally, and some will remain skeptical for a very long time. There's still some choice within that, not complete choice, because anytime you turn on a computer and use a search engine, you're now using AI. But there is some choice. Um, there's some choice in it. I'll end there.